What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content daily. We also stream over on Twitch at This Is Aftersound, so come by and say hello. All right, well, I have been daydreaming about land the last couple of days and spending a lot of time here on the Splinter Cards website where we get to look at some of the upcoming land details. Now, this is a third-party website, so I'm not sure if they have everything in here, but I do want to give a little kudos to Splinter Cards for compiling all the information that has been released. Again, everything is probably subject to change at this point, but still, this is a great resource if you want to come in and get an idea of what the lands may offer. So there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm not going to go through all of it. The only thing that I wanted to do for the purposes of this video was start to consider just how rare land could be, like the different land types overall. So my math is going to be somewhat fuzzy here, and somebody feel free to come and correct me if needed. But the basic breakdown, and I already did the math in the background, so I'm just going to tell you how I got there. And if somebody wants to come in and correct me, I'm more than happy to share an update. But essentially, we have 14 different land types, right? Going from plains, hills, all the way down to desert and badlands. So there's 14 different land types. Within those 14 different land types, you have different land categories. So you can have natural land, you can have magical land, and you can have occupied lands. And occupied lands are inhabited by wild monsters. All we know right now is you fight the monsters to extract essences used to mint item and spell cards. So I wonder if this could be kind of like a PvE element, but that's all the information we really have. So you get your 14 land types multiplied by 14 different land categories. And then within that, you have all of the different types of resources that can be done within. For example, a natural land is going to have 4 different resources that it could provide. I'm assuming it's going to be one of 4 resources, right? Grain, wood, stone, or ore. Under magical, there's a subcategory of the different resources used to mint item and spell cards. And that's going to be, I'm not going to go, Vertulium, Reclaimed Souls for Death, Ulana Seeds, Sparkstone for Fire, Bottled Storms for Water, and Heliostone for Dragon. So these each have subsets. And then obviously for occupied lands, there's a subset of, is it occupied or is it not? Or maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's just occupied. Who knows? And then, of course, within those, you have the rarity. So similar to how we have cards, common, rare, epic, and legendary. And these are all going to be prefixed. So if it's a plains, for example, then it is just going to be a common. But if it says fertile plains, then that is rare. Abundant plains are epic, and then overflowing, such as like an overflowing jungle, is going to be your legendary types of lands. So I don't know how that is going to determine the amount of resources. I'm assuming the amount of resources you can produce on that type of land will be much more significant. But taking all of these into account, like I said, just did some basic math here. And again, I'm probably missing something, so feel free to correct me. And I'm sure this number is not perfect, but just taking everything into account, all of these different sets and then different subsets, I got to about 8,000 potential possibilities, right? So because land is going to be all you have right now, if you own land or if you're planning to buy land, all you have is a claim. And when you open this claim, it's going to include one plot of land that has a combination of all of these different types of elements. So if we get to roughly 8,000, right? If we get to roughly 8,000 types of land, that means that each land plot is going to be, there's only going to be like 18 of them. So yes, I know land is already rare as it is, but for some reason that number made me a little happy. And I don't know if I'm looking at this the wrong way, and maybe it's a little bit more or a little bit less than this. But the idea that like you could go and get a plot of land, a claim to a plot of land right now, and really there might only be 20 other cards or 20 other land plots that do the same thing as yours is interesting. Now, of course, like there's going to be different kinds that are like epic or abundant epic or overflowing, and can essentially, produce more than yours, right? So the rarity will also matter. But I don't know. There was a part of me that was like looking at them saying, okay, maybe land isn't as much of a dice roll in the sense that, yes, you may get stuck. You may absolutely get stuck with the worst of the worst, like a common desert that provides nothing, and there's no magic, and there's nothing, and there's monsters all over it. Or maybe there's no monsters, right? Maybe you do want monsters, so you can take them out and use their essence for something, extract their essences. So maybe you get the worst of the worst. Yeah, like at the end of the day, it's still going to be a dice roll in that sense. But like I said, now that I'm like diving more into this and seeing all of the different potential opportunities here, to me, it just says that, well, it might be a dice roll worth having. So it's just one of those things where there's not going to be many other people producing, right? So for example, you will, if there's only one of 20 or like 20 different kinds of, 20 of one type of combination, for example, right? Like a plains that is natural and offers grain and is common, right? If there's only be 20 of those, again, just think about the rarity of that. The scarcity of that is actually the word I'm looking for. And yes, of course, common plains and common land probably isn't going to be as good as like a rare version of that or an epic version of that, but still, it's one of those things where you will be able to provide something as a resource where maybe some of the other folks aren't, right? So for example, a plains that provides grain and there's common, rare, epic, and legendary. And I'm just going to go with obviously the rough number that I have now. There's going to be 80 plots of land, right? 20, 40, 60, 80 plots of land that are plains related and produce maybe a certain type of resource. So out of those 80, if you own one, just keep in mind, like 80 to me is technically like a small number considering the amount of cards we have in circulation. So like I said, I just wanted to share that this Splinter Cards resource with you, as well as some of the daydreaming numbers that I was looking at. Now, I owned 2 plots of land. I would love to grab more, but I'm also, as I keep saying on the live streams, I'm like addicted to just getting as much SPS as possible. So I've even stopped buying cards. All I want is as much SPS as I can get my hands on. So I don't know what that says about me, but I feel like that means I'm probably not going to grab any more land in the near future. And no, I'm not trying to pump up the price of land. I have 2 plots and I'm just going to stick with it. So, maybe I'll grab some more in the future before they go up, but don't worry, I'm not going to try and dump the price on you. As it is, the price of land is down so much from its recent high. And actually, even like the 400 to 500 range that it was kind of sticking around, it's not even there anymore. We're down to 330. So to all the people who sold their land at the top, I commend you. I wouldn't have had the stones to do it, but you did it, and you came away. Hopefully, whatever else you invested is up, and now you can come in and buy literally 2 or 3 plots. I think land crossed, was it 1,000 at one point in like the mania at the end of last year? It could have been, but yeah. So would love to hear your thoughts on this. How I hate speculating on the, what the value of land will be, because I think anybody who's like throwing numbers out is literally pulling it out of thin air. But, I'm just curious to see, where is the value on land for you guys? And is it something like at this current price at $330, or, if it dips a little bit more, or if it goes back up to 400, is that something based on the rarity, based on what we can expect, based on what we know? Are you planning to buy land? And maybe you'll convince me to stop buying SPS and grab another plot or something. All right, guys, that's all I have for you in this video today. Have an amazing rest of your day. I will catch you all in the next one, and I will see you in the game. I'll see you around the game. Take care.